going on, Falcons fans? Logan here. Welcome back to Rise Up Rundown. And if you're new here, welcome. All right, so it is time to go over your mailbag questions for the week. And this was definitely the least amount of mailbag questions I got in a little while. But they're, yet again, amazing questions, and I'm excited to go over them all. And without further ado, let's get straight into it. So the first question is sort of followed up with another one. Now, I think one comment was more just trying to respond to this first question I'm about to read off, but I'll list them off anyway. That one Falcons fan asked, should the Falcons trade for Chase Young? And then Brent S. kind of comments back with trade for him with who? And if not for who, then what or how many picks in 2024 draft? I mean, Chase Young is just a famous name. It's not like he's lighting up sack stat sheets. I'm happy with who we have. Plus, we don't have enough capital for him, and I'm sure as hell don't want to give up unnecessary draft capital for him either. Remember, the Falcons have to do better than 9-8 in order for Coach Smith to not be in the hot seat. And keep in mind, Arthur Blank is in his early 80s now, so he's not going to be too patient if we digress, major injuries notwithstanding. So I can agree with those last few parts with, the Falcons have to get, how many did you say, 9? Yeah, you have to get better than 9 or 8 wins for Arthur Smith to not be on the hot seat. I agree with that. And Arthur Smith is in his 80s, so he wants to see some change happen pretty soon. But I guess to answer both questions, should we trade for Chase Young? Honestly, I would not. I'm not going to say that Chase Young is overrated. I don't. I think Chase Young can play. And heck, it goes back to what I felt about Calais Campbell. Like, I wasn't even crazy about possibly signing Calais Campbell because I always thought, he's not really the same player like he was. But he would be a good locker room, guy. And, maybe he's still got a little bit of juice in him. And then when we get Calais Campbell, of course, I'm still excited. So that's how I feel with Chase Young. Don't get me wrong. I would still be excited if we got Chase Young. It'd just be kind of funny if we suddenly, during that 2020 draft where we were wondering if we should get Chase Young and Jeff Okudah, and we ended up with AJ Terrell. It'd be funny if we all of a sudden did end up getting the players we wished we would have gotten in the 2020 draft with AJ Terrell, Jeff Okudah now, and possibly Chase Young. But anyway, yeah, I would still be happy. And he can play. And yes, he would be an upgrade on our defensive line because our defensive line does still need help at the end of the day. And this is kind of a broken record in my videos at this point. But Ryan Nielsen could do some special things with these pass rushers. So you never know if Chase Young just needs Ryan Nielsen and company to be better. And also to be coached by Calais Campbell and whatnot. But with all that being said, I do think I'm not going to say he's a name necessarily, but he's not quite who we saw in his rookie year. Is the best way I'm going to put it. I'm trying to find the nicest way to put this is I don't think that even if we did get Chase Young, I wouldn't keep him for too long. I would maybe have a 1 or 2 year deal. That's how much I think of Chase Young. It's not that he sucks and I would be excited, but I don't think that he's as impactful as maybe he was in his rookie year, if that makes any sense. But I will still be excited to get him. Foxy2K asked, what do you think Desmond Ritter's stat line will be? Worst and best case scenario. So best case scenario, I always say, I don't want people to overreact to this because I know this is going to sound bad, but it's really not. I think best case scenario is maybe he gets 3,800 or 3,900 yards total, and then maybe 17 to 18 touchdowns, and maybe around 5 interceptions, 6. I know that sounds kind of mediocre, but remember, the Falcons are trying to run the ball most of the time, and they're probably going to use Desmond Ritter running the ball a lot too. Which is why I'm a little on board with getting DeAndre Hopkins, because if you want to develop Desmond Ritter really well, why not get DeAndre Hopkins in? But I do think Desmond Ritter is going to have a bit of a slow start. He didn't really play that much last year, and maybe in the start of the year, he's going to have to adjust pretty quickly, and it won't be adjusted quickly in the beginning of the season. And we're just going to run the ball throughout the majority of the season, and most of our scores on offense is going to be through running the ball. So even though I'm not predicting a crazy amount of touchdowns, it's not me saying that I think Desmond Ritter will suck. It's more because I think the running game is going to score us most of the offensive points. Now, I do think that Ritter has a possible chance of having a slow start, especially against the Jags and the Lions pretty early on and whatnot. But later on, I think he will develop just like he did last year, where in late of the season he developed. And maybe later on in the season you'll see him develop as well. Worst case, if this third round quarterback is not good, worst case, I know this sounds sort of rough, but it is a third round quarterback. So it's like, okay, well, how low can we go here? But I guess I'll say I don't think he'll do terrible per se, because even if he does do terrible, they'll probably put in Taylor Heineke anyway. So the stat sheet, again, it might not look as good as you want it to, but if you for some reason want him not to succeed, it's not going to look as bad as you want it to. Maybe the worst case scenario is like 2,000 yards or like 2,400 yards, something like that, and maybe 10 touchdowns and 11 intercept. No, I'm not going to go that far. Maybe 5 interceptions again. Maybe like that. And then they would put Taylor Heineke in at that point. I don't know, something like that. Tara Turner asks, who do you think is going to replace Avery Williams at kick returner? # rise up. I'm not sure if this is a bold prediction or not, but I'm going to go with Bijan Robinson, because didn't Bijan say that Arthur Smith is kind of using him all over the field anyway? He's lining up against all sorts of players like AJ Terrell, and maybe they want Cordero Patterson and Tyler Algier to still get a good workload running the ball. And so it's like, well, if we can't use Bijan for some reason running the ball, then let's just have him kick return. And he's already a lethal, just unfair weapon that the Falcons have anyway. He never even played a snap, but that's just what we kind of know is going to happen anyway. So it's like, let's see what this guy's got at running back, receiver, and even kick returner. I can't imagine they didn't draft a running back 8th overall to see what he can do. Now, if it's not Bijan, maybe they'll sign, a little name, but still valuable kick returner over the offseason. And if there's any name I'm missing, I guess I haven't thought of it at the moment, but that is... it's got to be Bijan, right? Probably. And then the last question is from Cool Stuff I Want to Share. Favorite sport besides football? Definitely baseball. I like baseball a lot. Now, I'm not, that well known, or no, what's the word? I don't know it as much as I do football. With football, or at least with the NFL, I can sort of tell you the X's and O's. Like, I can tell you most of the players on other teams, or like most of the head coaches on other teams, and the stadium names that a lot of teams play in, all that stuff. But with baseball, I'm not quite there yet, but I'm getting there. I think fantasy baseball is helping me understand the sport a little bit, and it's helping me understand who all of these players are, and I'm sort of getting the hang of where every team plays and their stadium name and all the players they got. Again, I'm not there yet, but I really like it a lot. I've always liked baseball, but this is the first year I'm truly getting into it. And I don't know how I chose the Rays because I went to, it wasn't really college. It was more of a technical school, but my time in college, I was in Tampa and I just enjoyed my time there. And I was like, well, guess I'll just go back to my time in Tampa. And that's why I chose the Rays. And they just happen to look like they might even win it this year. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. But I still like to root for the Braves. My twin brother is a Braves fan because his new home is in Atlanta, and now he's convincing me that should be my new home. And I'm going to see a Braves game this weekend versus the Rockies. So I like the Braves too, but I don't know. And then, I'm thinking about going to a Marlins and Brewers game this September. It's still just, I don't know. We'll see what happens. I don't know if it actually will happen or not, but I like baseball a lot. Basketball, I don't really care for college basketball, to be honest with you. I really don't care about it, but NBA, I mean, like, I'm not gonna say I'm into NBA, but I sometimes at least try to see who wins the playoffs. It was exciting to see the Miami Heat get into the finals because I go to Miami a lot for work, and I see the finals or the Miami Heat Stadium from time to time, and I don't know, it just kind of feels good to see the Heat Stadium and see that the Heat are probably not going to win the finals, but I mean, it was still cool to see a little Cinderella story, I guess. And if I had to choose one team for NBA, honestly, I don't really know. The closest city to me is the Orlando Magic, but I don't know. That doesn't really look like it's going to be a good idea to root for the Magic. I've been to so many Magic games when I was little, and I could never really get into it. So I guess that's just life telling me I shouldn't be a Magic fan. I don't really know. And then for hockey, I'm not going to act like I know hockey that much. I don't know. I don't know anything about hockey. If I could choose one team, I guess it would be the Lightning, because it kind of goes back to my college days. Like, from time to time, I would see the, what's it called? The Amalie Arena? Something like that. I would say from time to time as I was in Tampa, and I guess it just naturally made me realize that Tampa loves the Lightning. Atlanta doesn't have a hockey team anymore, do they? I thought they had the Thrashers and then they left. But I also don't mind if it was the Panthers, because last year I went to this music concert in that Florida Panthers stadium, and I just kind of liked my memories there. So, I mean, I don't know. I'm not writing in stone who my basketball and hockey team is. I just know that my football team is the Falcons and my baseball team is the Rays. But I like baseball a lot. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and I will see you guys with a video this Wednesday at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern. Love and appreciate y'all for the support, and as always, rise up.